The Desert King's Sorrowful Princess. 1800-word Western desert romance story. In the heart of the endless dunes, where the sun seemed to burn with an ancient fury and the winds carried whispers of forgotten kingdoms, ruled King Raif al-Sahari, a man feared by rebels, respected by tribes, and known across the frontier as the Desert King. But those who truly understood him knew a deeper truth: he ruled a kingdom of sand yet carried a heart full of storms. His power came from his will, his loneliness came from destiny. And fate was never crueler to him than on the day he found Alara, the sorrowful princess who would forever haunt the corners of his soul. Princess Alara had been raised far from the desert, in a distant frontier settlement built by wanderers and dreamers. Her mother had been the daughter of a western sheriff, her father, a traveling trader who vanished before she could walk. People often said she carried the contradiction of both bloodlines, her mother's soft strength and her father's mysterious quiet. But after her mother's death, the settlement had become nothing more than a reminder of what she had lost. She would sit by the wooden fence every evening, watching dust storms rise in the distant dunes, feeling an odd, unexplainable pull toward the unknown. Little did she know the desert was watching back. The first time Raif saw her, she was standing at the edge of the frontier market, sunlight glowing against her hair while she examined a handcrafted saddle. Unlike the desert women who looked away from his piercing gaze, Alara didn't flinch. She looked back. Her softness didn't scare him, and his danger didn't scare her. The connection was instant, like two lost pieces suddenly recognizing each other. Raif was there to negotiate peace between tribes and settlers, but after seeing her, peace was the last thing on his mind. He found himself returning to the market again the next day, and the next, just to catch a glimpse of the girl with the uncertain smile and sorrow in her eyes. Their first real conversation took place when she found him observing the horizon with a soldier's instinct. "You look like you belong to another world," Alara said gently. Raif turned to her. "This world. Every grain of sand, every breath of wind. But not here," she insisted. "Not among these people. And what makes you think you do?" She hesitated, then admitted, "I'm not sure I belong anywhere." It was a confession so raw that Raif felt something inside him shift. From that moment, their meetings became inevitable. They talked about everything: the desert, the frontier, the quiet fears people carried, and the dreams they were too shy to confess to anyone else. His guarded heart opened slowly, like a fortress door creaking after years of silence. He even taught her to ride a desert stallion, guiding her hands carefully. The gentle closeness between them grew into something unspoken but undeniable. For Raif, she became the oasis he never allowed himself to dream of. For Alara, he became the one place she felt safe. But the desert is not a kind kingdom, and destiny does not bend for love. One night, a band of raiders attacked the frontier settlement, seeking revenge against Raif for refusing them tribute. The settlers fought bravely, but the raiders were ruthless. Alara was captured and taken deep into the desert. When Raif heard the news, his fury shook the entire camp. He rode into the dunes with 30 of his finest riders, storms swirling behind him as if the desert itself was responding to his rage. They tracked the raiders for 2 days and nights, finally ambushing them near a crumbling stone fortress. Raif fought like a lion, slicing through enemies until the sand was stained with the price of his wrath. He found Alara tied inside the fortress ruins, injured and trembling but alive. When he cut her ropes, she collapsed into his arms. "You came," she whispered. "I would cross the sands 1,000 times for you," he replied, voice breaking. But taking her back to the frontier was no longer an option. The settlement had been burned. There was nowhere left for her. So Raif made a decision that would change their lives forever. He brought her to his desert kingdom, an oasis city hidden behind towering cliffs, protected by the loyalty of his tribes. Some feared the king's temper, others respected his rule. But all were stunned when they saw him carrying a fragile frontier girl in his arms. Alara's new life was both beautiful and overwhelming. She learned desert customs, wore flowing robes, and walked through markets filled with scents of saffron and oud. Raif showed her hidden springs, ancient ruins, and the secret places he had never revealed to anyone. Yet even as he opened his world to her, a shadow loomed. The elders of the kingdom believed the Desert King should marry a noblewoman from a powerful tribe to secure alliances. A foreign girl, especially a frontier-born outsider, was unacceptable. Raif, for the first time in years, felt powerless. His heart insisted on choosing Alara. His kingdom demanded otherwise. One evening, while the sun bled across the horizon, Alara confronted him. "They don't want me here," she said softly. "I want you here," he answered. "But you're a king, Raif. You carry the weight of thousands." She took his hand gently. "And I'm just a lost girl with a broken past." "You are not lost. You were found," he said, touching her face. "By me. But even love cannot silence an entire kingdom." Tension grew. Threats whispered. Tribes withdrew their support. Rafe's advisors warned him that war could break out if he chose her. And Alara, seeing the price Raif was already paying, felt an ache deeper than any wound. She loved him too much to let him destroy his own people for her. So one night, without telling him, she made a decision that would shatter both their hearts. She quietly left the oasis. She walked for hours under the moonlight, leaving behind the only man who ever truly saw her. She carried nothing but a small water flask and the broken necklace she had kept since childhood. The desert winds were cold, the dunes endless, but she kept moving, choosing sorrow over becoming a burden to the man she loved. Raif discovered her absence at dawn. The moment he realized she was gone, it felt like the entire desert fell silent. He rode out alone, following her faint footprints across the dunes. Hours passed. The sun climbed. Sandstorms grew. But he did not stop. He would rather die under the desert sky than let her vanish from his world. He found her at dusk, sitting on a dune with the wind whipping her hair. "Alara," he breathed. She didn't turn. "You shouldn't have come." He knelt beside her. "You think I would let you disappear without a fight? You need to choose your kingdom," she said painfully. "I already did," he whispered. "I chose you." Her eyes filled with tears. "Raif, they will destroy everything. Then let them try." But even as he said the words, he knew the burden was real. His people depended on him. His kingdom could fall into chaos. Alara looked at him, understanding the war in his heart. "Love shouldn't cost you your world," she whispered. "And life without you is not a world worth ruling," he replied. The moon climbed higher. The wind softened. And for a moment, the desert felt timeless, as if it, too, was holding its breath for them. In the end, neither won the argument. Neither surrendered. Instead, they made a promise. Someday, when the desert was no longer divided by tribe and bloodline, when peace finally settled over the dunes, they would meet again, not as king and outsider, not as duty and sacrifice, but as two souls who found each other in the unlikeliest corner of the world. Raif escorted her to the border of a distant western town, ensuring her safety before the sun rose. Their farewell was silent at first, heavy with the weight of everything they could have had. Alara finally asked, "Will you forget me?" "Every sunrise will remind me," he said. "And you?" he asked softly. "I'll carry the desert in my heart," she whispered. "Because it carries you." Their final embrace lasted only a moment, but it felt like a lifetime. Raif watched her walk away until her silhouette blended with the pale morning light. He did not call out. He did not stop her. He simply stood there, a king alone in the vast emptiness, feeling the desert wind echo the loss inside him. And somewhere far behind him, hidden in the dunes, the desert whispered their story, the tale of a powerful king and the sorrowful princess he loved enough to